Hi folks, my name is Mitch, just doing another video on a recipe that I'm trying. I kind of taken this from a bunch of different recipes that I saw on YouTube. So I'm going to try to make basically a, a an easier explanation would be soy sauce salmon. So what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to be making the sauce that I'm going to be cooking along with the salmon. So without further ado, let's start adding a couple of things. So I have a tablespoon of light soy sauce. And I never tried doing this before. Let's actually go with 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce. And then we have sweet soy sauce. And I'm doing 2 tablespoons of that as well. This is basically, it's to kind of sweeten up the dish. I'm not using any sugar or anything. I have oyster sauce here. And I'm going to go about half a tablespoon on this one. And again, remember, this is something that I'm just kind of coming up with on the fly. It's taken from a couple of different recipes here and there. Nothing actually uses all of these set measurements that I'm measuring out right now. I have some very thinly sliced shallots, so I'm going to be adding some of that in there. And then I have some very thinly sliced ginger, which I'm going to be adding as well. And some minced garlic, fresh minced garlic. Again, no real measurement. I'm just going to kind of mix everything just to see how it comes out. See if there's anything else that needs to be added. I'm actually going to be adding some sesame oil as well. Nothing too much. Maybe just a I'm going to go with 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Okay. Just kind of mix all that stuff up. Smells pretty good, actually. And if I want to go with it, being a little sweeter, then I would add probably just some sugar in here. So let's do a little quick taste test. Pretty spot on. However, I'm going to be adding some water. About 1 tablespoon of water, and then I'm going to add some sugar. Okay. That's about half a teaspoon there. Okay, let that dissolve, and then I'll get my fish started, prepped and ready. I'm going to be serving this over some rice. So. Okay. Do another taste test. That's pretty good. Okay, on to the cooking. So basically I have a non-stick pan. My salmon has already been cleaned and it's skinless. I have spread some olive oil around it and salt and peppered it. And I'm just gonna toss it right in as soon as this thing heats up. So I'm not gonna add any additional oil to the pan itself. And these, since they are different sizes in terms of the cuts, they're going to cook a little differently in terms of how long they're going to stay on the pan for. And don't want to waste this last little piece of fish, so I'm just going to throw that right in there. Okay, so we're just going to kind of let that go for a few minutes. As soon as I can see about it being about 1/3 of the way cooked, this is the salmon is already at room temperature, so it'll cook a lot faster. That's why I have the sauce mixture already prepped and ready to go. I have some green onions soaked in some water. So to prevent the onions from withering, and that's just for the garnish on top. Okay. So it's looking pretty good now. Just wanted to get a nice sear on it. And I'll put the ingredients that I used in the process in the description below. Again, really not measured out. I did use some measuring, utensils and tablespoons and teaspoons and stuff like that. But it's kind of more of how you prefer it to taste. This is the way that I've been, taught with my mom and everything, in terms of gaining experience and learning how to cook and stuff like that. So, all right, it's time to flip a little bit. That's fine there. Okay, now the fun begins. Let's add some of the sauce. Just going to toss it right in there. By the way, everything that's going on in here, it smells pretty fantastic. I'm going to be using a spoon to baste the fish as well. Make sure that it's touching everything. Fish is by far one of the easiest or quickest things to cook. Just a few minutes on each side and you're pretty much good. A little salt, a little pepper, some lemon. Very simple. It's kind of like steak, actually. Okay. So I cook a few more minutes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the salmon out. after that, I'm going to reduce the sauce and thicken it up a little bit. So then I'm going to be using that as the main sauce to pour over everything. So I'm just going to scrape all this off. Okay. Remove the fish. I turned down the heat quite significantly. I added some more water to the pan itself to try to pick up some of the stuff that had settled on the side. And now what I'm going to be doing is I have some water with some cornstarch mixed in. This is just to kind of thicken the sauce a little bit. I'm not going to use the whole thing. It's just to kind of see where I can get to when I add all this stuff in here. I think that's about good. So this is the outcome of the salmon, by the way. Nice and glazed. Smells terrific. And the sauce is pretty much done. It's nice and thick. So I'm going to be putting the sauce on the side. And then adding that as needed. Definitely be used as a dipping sauce where you can just pop it right on top. And there we have it. So we have the fish, we have the sauce, and we're going to be topping up with some green onions. And I'm going to plate it, and then I will show you the end result. So here's dinner. This is the rice with the little bit of the sauce on top. The sauce itself is packed full of flavors, so it is pretty intense. That's why I only put a little bit on the rice. It's on the fish as well. And I did a little sample taste test with one of the pieces earlier, and it turned out pretty good. So worked out really well putting all this together. And well, thank you again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and until then, enjoy.